What's up? Welcome to Ahmed's Voice. This is the Digital Journal, recording this episode on October 20th, 2025. Welcome. Tonight we are talking about the documentary called When We Were Kings. This documentary dropped in 1996. It chronicled the rumble in the jungle, which is the fight between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman in Zaire. This occurred on October 30th, 1974. We're going to talk a little bit about the documentary, get into the background of it, but there's an important lesson that I want to talk about from the documentary, from the actual fight, how Muhammad Ali approached his fight. And I think it's something that we're missing in our society today. The will to overcome, the will to be the best, the will to be able to take a punch to win the fight. Again, When We Were Kings dropped as a documentary in 1996, directed by Leon Gast. It was produced by David Sonnenberg, a name you should know very well, especially if you watch a lot of movies. David Sonnenberg, a spectacular producer. Again, this is a documentary that chronicled the rumble in the jungle. It was a heavyweight match between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. This film has a lot of characters, real life characters in it. Number one, Muhammad Ali. We get George Foreman. We get Don King, James Brown, B.B. King. We get the Spinners. There was a giant music festival to go along with this fight in Zaire in 1974. George Foreman got a scratch above his eye before the fight, so the actual giant music festival that went on had to go on before the fight. They had to delay the fight about 6 months. Again, we are talking about James Brown, the Spinners, Miriam Makeba, a host of great, spectacular musicians that took part of this festival in Zaire in 1974. This is a great documentary. I can watch it over and over again. I always suggest it to everybody. It is one of the best documentaries that I have ever watched. That's my personal opinion, but it is an absolute great documentary. The thing about this is that Muhammad Ali is coming off of, being suspended from boxing, having to serve some time, off of being ostracized for being a conscientious objector to the Vietnam War. He's stripped of his title, and now this is his comeback to regain the title, another title shot. That title is held by George Foreman, who at the time is a monster. Both of these men, of course, now are deceased, but just both great Americans, great American icons. But at this time, George Foreman was an absolute monster in the boxing world. He was destroying everybody. He destroyed people that Muhammad Ali had issues with. I mean, he destroyed Ken Norton, destroyed Joe Frazier, everybody he came across. He was a boxer who was he was an unstoppable force. He was huge. He was strong. He could take a punch. He hit as hard as an ox, and nobody could stop him. He was a nightmare. And of course, this fight put the one and only Don King on the map as far as being a fight promoter. So the Rumble in the Jungle was not just a fight. It was an event. It was an event. It was a musical event. It was a cultural event. It was a major boxing event. Again, it was an event that really put Don King on the map. Don King didn't have the money to pay Muhammad Ali, so he went to Mobutu Sese Seko, who at the time was the leader of Zaire, which is also known as the Congo, and got him to put up $5 million for each fighter to actually fight in Zaire. Mobutu thought this would be a great way to showcase the country and showcase himself, of course, as a premier African leader. And this documentary gets into a lot of cultural things that are happening not only in the United States, but worldwide, in Africa. Just a spectacular piece of film. There's Norman Mailer, who's actually a part of this film as far as giving some commentary in it. We have Spike Lee gives some commentary in this film. We also have, I think it's George Plimpton. Yep, George Plimpton also gives some commentary in this film. Thomas Hauser. Again, just the who's who at the time of of boxing commentators. We also have file footage from Howard Cosell. Just a really, really good look at a period of time, especially with Muhammad Ali and the cultural things that are going on. But the things that I really want to talk about, the theme that strikes me from this movie, is Muhammad Ali's approach to fighting George Foreman. Again, George Foreman is an unstoppable force at this time. He is destroying everybody that he fights. Nobody can stop this man. And everybody really had Ali picked to lose this fight. Not only to lose this fight, but to really get hurt. The people really didn't think he had a chance against George Foreman. And if you looked at it on paper, he didn't have a chance against George Foreman. Again, at the time, George Foreman, absolute monster, destroying everything. The film goes into talking about the kind of political differences that are going on in the world, and it kind of juxtaposes Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman. Muhammad Ali kind of goes into Africa, and being Ali's standing at the time, he actually becomes the hero in Africa, right? He actually becomes a hero, and George Foreman kind of becomes a villain. George Foreman is somewhat playing into that role. Again, he's just an unstoppable force. He can't be beat. He can't imagine he's going to be beat. No one thinks he's going to be beat. What happens in this fight is that when the fight starts, when they actually get into fighting, first of all, let me rewind a little bit. Ali really plays into the hero in this movie in Africa. He really is able to get the crowd in Africa, the people in Africa behind him as the people's champ. He is representing all of the African diaspora, right? He's really representing everybody who has come from Africa, who lives in all different corners of the earth that has African descendancy. George Foreman is more of like the European black man. He is the ones that the Europeans approve of, and he's adopted Western ways. And again, he is kind of plays into this role of being the villain when he comes into this fight. And as you get closer to the fight and you're hearing the commentary from Norman Mailer and George Plimpton, and they're talking about how leading up to the fight, that Ali's locker room is somewhat morose. They're somewhat sad because no one really thinks he's going to win this fight. No one thinks he has what it takes to beat George Foreman. And the whole time leading up to this fight, Ali talked about how he was going to dance. He was too quick. He was too fast. That Foreman wasn't going to be able to cut off the ring. Cut Ali off in the ring. That he was going to move when he was so fast. He was so fast, so light on his feet. What's he say? He was like, he was so fast that he turns the light switch off and he's in the bed before the room gets dark, right? Like, he's really talking about how he's going to be too fast for George Foreman to hit. And the first thing he does when he gets in the ring, the first round, he just goes at George Foreman. Just goes at George Foreman with a couple of overhand rights. And George Foreman becomes enraged and really just starts wailing on Muhammad Ali. And everybody thinks the fight is going to be over. Then after that first round, Muhammad Ali comes in and he just kind of goes to the ropes and he lets George Foreman just start banging on him. Just these broad strokes. He's just destroying him, to the point where people in the crowd, you hear them talk about in the documentary, they think the fix is in that, they've come all this way and Ali is going to throw the fight, because it seems like George Foreman is just destroying Ali. But if you're watching the fight, you can see that Ali is actually talking to George Foreman. He's whispering in his ear. He's telling him, is that all you got? You can't hit me any harder than that. Ali's strategy, what we now call the rope-a-dope, is to let George Foreman just wail on him until he's out of energy. And then I think it's the seventh or eighth round, George Foreman is so tired, so exhausted, that Ali comes off the ropes, bings him up, knocks him out. Ali is the champion. But it's that strategy that is, remember that Ali didn't tell anybody what he was going to do, that he was actually going to let George Foreman just beat on him for all of these rounds, right? And it's a testament to Ali's faith. It's a testament to what Ali knew about himself. It's a testament to Muhammad Ali finding a way to win this fight, to have the will to find a way to win this fight, to be smarter than everybody else. And I think it speaks a lot to that. He didn't tell anybody he was going to do that, because if he told anybody he was going to do that, they would have talked him out of it. They would have tried to talk him out of it. They would have brought his confidence down. They already thought he wasn't going to win the fight. There's no way that anybody was going to approve of him going into the ring and let George Foreman, this monster, beat on him for 7 or 8 rounds. There's no way anybody would have went for that. But Ali had the faith in himself. He had the faith in the battles he had been in, and he had a plan. And I think he had the will to follow through on that plan. I'm sure during some of those rounds that those George Foreman hits were putting doubts in him, but he stuck with the plan. He stuck with the plan that he knew. He stuck with the plan that he knew was going to work, that maybe nobody else had faith in. And I think that's what we're missing in today's society, especially over the last 5 years. Definitely since, COVID, things have changed. People don't really have that will anymore. I think we've taken a turn to where everybody expects things to be handed to them because of who they are, or what they look like, or how they identify, or just thinking they deserve something, just thinking the world owes them, thinking that they're just supposed to have, that no one is supposed to work hard for anything anymore, that something is owed to them. Nobody wants to take a punch or a couple of punches to win the fight. Nobody wants to be out of breath to win the race. Nobody wants to cut back on their lifestyle to get out of debt. And I think that's the message I took from When We Were Kings, is that Ali knew and had a plan. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to have to take some hits, but I'm tough enough to take them. I have enough strength in myself to overcome this monster, the barbarians at the gate, and I'm here to meet them no matter what anybody else thinks. And I think that's what we need a little bit more of today. That's what I took from this film, is that we need a little bit more faith in ourselves. We need to stop accepting the fact and the common ethos that we're smaller, that we deserve to win, that we deserve the raise, that we deserve the job. You deserve what you work for. You deserve what you fight for. You deserve what you take. You deserve what you build yourself up for. You deserve what your skills allow you to get. And I think that's my main takeaway from Ali and When We Were Kings. He came in knowing he was going to win this fight. He put himself in a position to win the fight. He saw it through. He took nothing for granted. He didn't think he was owed the fight. He was going to find a way to beat that monster. And I think that's what we need to have more of in our personal lives, in our work lives, in our just constitutions of ourselves. We need to be able to find a way to beat the monster. We need to quit letting people tell us it's okay to be less. I'm not talking about being overly prideful. I'm just talking about having the faith in yourself to work towards something, the faith in yourself to become stronger, the faith in yourself to become smarter, to faith to know that it doesn't matter what anybody thinks about you. It doesn't matter who they think you are or what you think you are. What do you think you are? And you don't have to prove it to anyone but yourself. You need to beat yourself. By Ali beating George Foreman the way he did, he really had to conquer himself, because he had to put himself in a position where he was strong enough to overcome his own fears and take those broadsides, those malicious, just destructive hits that Foreman was going to level at him. Ali had to overcome that, and he did. And that's one of the main things I took away from When We Were Kings. Again, check out When We Were Kings. It's right now streaming on YouTube. I think it's streaming on Netflix. It's on a couple of other places. I have linked the IMDb page that is linked in the description of this video, as well as the YouTube link. Check it out. If you've never seen When We Were Kings, it's definitely a great documentary that you will enjoy. You will learn a lot of. It is the perfect time capsule to see the politics that were going on in the early 70s. I think you'll really enjoy it and really meditate. I really meditate on Ali. Ali's in rare form. He's really spitting knowledge, but he's really showing what a person can do with faith in himself and with God and whoever he believes in. He's really showing you. And I think, again, the takeaway from me is that we need that spirit again today. We are definitely in the find out stage right now, the way society is going. It's not turning back. It's not going to get easier. The last 5 years have fooled us to think things were always going to be easy. They are not. Things are about to be very hard, and it's those who have built up the strength and character within themselves, who have fought battles, that are going to recognize that the barbarian is at the gate, and no one's going to beat the barbarian but another barbarian, or someone's prepared to beat the barbarian. Again, this is Ahmed's Voice Digital Journal. We've been talking about When We Are Kings. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Get in the comment section. Send me a message. Let me know what you think about my takeaways from the movie, about what you think about the documentary, and subscribe here on Substack or on YouTube, but really subscribe here on Substack. This is where I'm going to be putting most of my material at, most of my long form stuff. And subscribe, because I am going to have some content come up in a little bit that's going to be subscribers only because I just think it warrants that. It's going to be some things about times when I was at San Diego Rep and when it shut down, and some other things that happened in the arts the last few years. So please subscribe. That way you get notified every time I drop a new piece of audio, video, something that I write. The main place is here on Substack. You can follow me on Instagram at Ahmed's Voice, ahmedsvoice.com, YouTube at Ahmed's Voice, X at Ahmed's Voice. ahmedsvoice.com is the hub. Substack, Ahmed's Voice, the digital journal, is where you'll find most of my stuff. So again, thank you. I appreciate it. When We Were Kings, check it out. It's worth your time. Appreciate you. Talk to you again soon. Peace.